Good morning, children. Welcome to online class of Sri Gokulam Public School, Guruvayur. I am Prasida Sujit, your new geography teacher. How are you all? I hope you all are fine and safe at home. In the chapter Resource and Development, you have already learned or you have already discussed about the first two parts in the previous classes. Today we are going to learn about the last part of the lesson, that is soil as a resource. Soil is an important natural resource. So children, you have to understand the value of natural resource and also the need for their judicious utilization and conservation. What is judicious utilization? As you know, our natural resources are scarce when compared to the density of population. So our resources should be utilized judiciously so that after fulfilling our needs, they are also preserved for our future generation too. So the future of our earth, will be completely depend upon how sensibly we are utilizing our natural resources. So let's move to our topic in detail. Before that, children, you have to keep the textbook with you while watching the lecture video so that you can underline the main points. It will help you a lot while revising the textbook next time. Okay, children, let's move to the topic. So children, let's learn about the importance of soil as a resource. Soil is the most important renewable natural resource. What do you mean by a renewable natural resource? Renewable resource, it's a resource which can be renewed or reproduced by any physical, chemical or mechanical process are called a renewable resource. So the soil is considered as the most important renewable natural resource. So soil has been playing very vital role because it's the only medium through which a plant can grow on the earth. So it's the medium for the growth of a plant, and also it supports different types of living organisms on the earth. It takes millions of years to form soil up to a few centimeters in depth. So moreover, there are various factors that affecting for the formation of soil. Which are they? The various forces of nature, such as changes in temperature, actions of running water. How this running water affect for the formation of soil? When the water is running, it takes the soil along with that away, and finally it reaches somewhere else. And then wind and glaciers. These glaciers, when they fall on the soil, and it takes the entire mud. Likewise, the chemical and organic change is also important for the formation of soil. So what are the various forces that affecting for the formation of soil? That is temperature, actions of running water, wind and glaciers, then activities of decomposers. What is decomposers? It's the presence, the decomposers means it's the presence of fungi or bacteria, such things. So what they are doing? They are taking or they are obtaining nutrients from the dead plants. So these are the important factors that affecting for the formation of a soil. So you have to understand the value of resources and the need for their judicious utilization. What is judicious utilization? That is sensible utilization and conservation of soil. So it simply means you have to take care, or you should have a organized use of natural resources. Our resources should be utilized judiciously so that after fulfilling our needs, they are also preserved for the future generation too. So the future of our earth depends on how judiciously we are utilizing our natural resources. So, soil has a very vital role among human as well as nature. Man depends on the soil directly or indirectly for his food. Agriculture can be practiced only if soils are available. Man gets the materials needed for shelter and clothing directly and indirectly from the soil. Soils are essential for the growth of forests. So, because of all these, soil is considered as one of the most important natural resource. Children, let's learn more about soil. The uppermost layer of the earth's crust, which is loose, broken, and useful for plants, is called soil. That is, we can dig or we can plow in the uppermost layer of the earth, which is called crust, that place which are suitable for planting trees or for cultivation. So the uppermost layer of the earth crust, which is loose, broken, and useful for plants, is called soil. The next thing, soil consists of mineral matters such as sand and clay, and organic matters such as humus, bacteria, and earthworms. All these are all about the decomposers of the soil. Then how the weather is affecting for the formation of soil. Soil is formed mainly due to the process of weathering. As a result of weathering, a layer of loose rock materials is formed on the land surface. In this layer remains undisturbed for a long period of time. Chemical, physical, and organic changes also take place in it. So all these changes leads to the formation of soil. Now you can understand how much the soil is inevitable in the nature. That's why we learned earlier that we have to realize the value of resources, and also we have to realize the necessity of its judicious utilization and conservation so that we can preserve our nature for future. Children, now we can check the different factors which are influencing for the soil formation process. The first one is climate. Climate decides the rate of weathering and the type of vegetation. Next one is topography. Topography of the land decides the accumulation of soil. What is topography? Topography is landscape. That is, the word depicts the shape and features of land surface. There are different types of land surfaces, that is mountains, valleys, hills, lakes, and all, etc. So all these have different types of shapes and different features. So all these topography or landscape, they decide the accumulation of soil. This topography or landscape of an area can influence the weather and the climate. The third one is nature of parent rock. The next factor that influence for the formation of soil is nature of parent rock. That it decides the composition and the texture of the soil. The last one is vegetation. Vegetation decides the amount of humus available in the soil. That is, the collective plants of an area, the collective plants of a place also decides the amount of humus. What is humus? The humus, that is the organic matter in the soil. How it's made? It's made by the dead parts of the plants and animals. So this vegetation decides the amount of humus available in the soil. So these are the climate, topography, nature of parent rock, the vegetation. These are the four factors which are affecting the or influencing the soil formation process. Children, let's move on to discuss about the classification of soils. India has varied relief features, landforms, climatic realms, and vegetation types. These have contributed in the development of various types of soils. On the basis of the factors responsible for the soil formation, color, thickness, texture, age, and chemical and physical properties, the soils of India are classified in different types. So let's move on that. Children, let's discuss about the importance of alluvial soils, or what are the peculiarities of alluvial soils. Alluvial soils are the most important and widely spread soil. These have been deposited by the three important Himalayan river systems, that is the Indus, the Ganga and the Brahmaputra. Alluvial soil is also found in the deltas of Mahanadi, the Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri rivers. The alluvial soil consists of various proportions of sand, silt and clay. What is silt? It's a mixture of both mud and clay with the stone particles, that is rock particles, that is called silt. So this is a proportion, this alluvial soil is a proportion of both sand, silt and the clay. So according to their age, alluvial soils can be classified as old alluvial and the new alluvial. Alluvial soils are very fertile and it is suitable for the cultivation of sugarcane, paddy, wheat and other crops. So, because it contains adequate proportion of potash, phosphoric acid and lime, so which are very suitable for the growth of these crops. So, due to its high fertility, regions of alluvial soils are intensively cultivated and densely populated. So, soils in these drier areas are more alkaline and can be productive after proper treatment and irrigation. Children, now let's summarize the features of alluvial soils. Alluvial soil is the most fertile and widespread soil found in India. It is formed due to the deposition of fine silt called alluvium by the rivers. What is that? During this process, the particles of rocks, clay and mud lay down in layers. So it leads to the formation of alluvium. So alluvium is a triangle shaped deposit of sand and small pieces of silts. So this is formed due to the deposition of fine silt called alluvium by the rivers. And then it is found in the northern plains, Gujarat plains and coastal plains. And also it consists of sand, silt and clay. So these are the four main features of alluvial soil. If you summarize about the alluvial soil, you must have understood about these 4 points. That is, alluvial soil is the most fertile soil found in India and it is formed due to the deposition of fine silt called alluvium by the rivers. And the third point is it is found in the northern plains, Gujarat plains and the coastal plains. It also consists of sand, silt and it's a mixture of sand, silt and the clay. Now we are going to discuss about the features of black soil. So children, you just go through the main points mentioned over here and we can discuss it in detail. First point is rigor soil, ideal for growing cotton, black cotton soil. That is, these soils, as the name depicts, the color of the soil is black. This black soil is also known as rigor soils. This soil is ideal for growing cotton and also it is known as black cotton soil. So, this black soil is known as rigor soil as well as black cotton soil. Now, let's see how this black soil is formed. Climatic condition and the parent rock material. These are the two factors that leads to the formation of black soil. This type of soil is typical of Deccan Trap region spread over northwest Deccan Plateau and is made up of lava flows. They cover the plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh and extend in the southeast direction along the Godavari and the Krishna valleys. These black soils are made up of extremely clay material. So they are well known for their capacity to hold moisture. In addition, they are rich in soil nutrients such as calcium carbonate, magnesium, potash and lime. But at the same time, the content of phosphoric acid is very low in this black soil. These soils are sticky when wet and difficult to work on unless tilled immediately after the first shower or during the pre-monsoon period. If we go through the main points once again, it will be the first point. The black soil is known as rigor soil and also black cotton soil. There are two factors that leads to the formation of black soil are climatic condition and parent rock material. It is typical of Deccan Trap and also it is made up of lava flows. This soil cover the plateaus of Maharashtra, Saurashtra, Malwa, Madhya Pradesh and Chhattisgarh. This black soil is made up of fine clay material and also it has the capacity to hold moisture. It is rich in calcium carbonate, magnesium, potassium and lime, but at the same time it is poor in phosphoric contents. It develops deep cracks during the hot weather and also these soils are sticky in nature and when it is wet. So children, these are the main points of black soil. Children, next we are discussing about red and yellow soils. This red soil develops on crystalline igneous rocks in areas of low rainfall in the eastern and the southern parts of the Deccan Plateau. What is crystalline igneous rocks? Actually, these rocks are composed entirely of crystallized minerals. So it doesn't have any glossy matter. These rocks also looks like a volcano rock. So this red soil develops on the crystalline igneous rocks in areas of low rainfall in the eastern and the southern parts of Deccan Plateau. These soils develop a reddish color due to diffusion of iron, that is excess amount of iron in it. So this soil develop a reddish color because of iron content in crystalline and metamorphic rocks. So it looks yellow when it occurs in a hydrated form. So the main points are once again red soils are formed due to the weathering of crystalline igneous rocks under the low rainfall conditions, and the next is it is red in color because of the presence of iron in it. It is found in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, Chhattisgarh and Jharkhand. So these are all about red soil. Next we are moving to laterite soil. The next is laterite soil. The word laterite originated from the Latin word later, which means brick. The next is laterite soil is formed due to the intense leaching caused by tropical rainfall. Actually, what is this intense leaching? Due to heavy rainfall, the soluble material of soil is removed from one zone to another through this water movement. So, this soil is the result of the intense leaching due to heavy rain. The next point is humus content is less because the microorganisms get destroyed due to the high temperature. As we discussed earlier, the humus that is made by the dead particles of plants and animals. So this humus has many nutrients that improve the health of soil. So if this humus content is less in the soil, it won't be that much fertile. So humus content is less in the laterite soil because of the microorganisms get destroyed due to what? Due to high temperature. So these are the three main points which you have to learn from the topic laterite soil. From laterite soil. Children, the another classification of soil is arid soil. The arid soil are red or brown in color. They are sandy and saline. Humus and moisture content are very less. So they can be cultivated only after irrigation. So as the humus content is very low, that soil will be less fertile. So after a proper irrigation of this soil become cultivable. Concar layer in the soil prevent the water from seeping underground. Children, next we are moving to forest soil. So in forest soil, it is found in hilly and mountainous regions. They are loamy and silty in valleys and coarse in the upper slopes. So what's the speciality of this forest soil? It looks like loamy and silty. That is, it's a mixture of both clay and sand. So its nature is loamy and silty in valleys, but at the same time when it comes to the upper side it will be more coarse, that is that the texture will be a little bit rough or harsh. The next point of forest soil is in Himalayas they suffer denudation and are acidic with low humus content. That is due to denudation, that is the process of wearing away the earth's surface by moving water, moving ice or by wind, leading a reduction of elevation of landscape. So because of this denudation, that soil are acidic in nature with low humus content. The next point is that this soil found in the lower slopes of the valley are fertile. Because of the lack of humus content in Himalayas, they suffer because of this denudation, that soil's nature is acidic with the low humus content. But at the same time, this soil found little bit fertile in the lower slopes of the valleys. Children, we have learned the different classification of soil and its nature. So let's revise the name of different soils once again. There are mainly 6 types of soils found. They are alluvial soils, black soil, red and yellow soils, laterite soil, arid soils and forest soils. So now I hope you got a clear idea about the different types of soil. Now we are going to discuss about the new topic, soil erosion and soil conservation. Children, now we are moving on to understand how is the soil erosion happening and what are the different methods that we need to follow to have soil conservation. So let's try to understand soil erosion first. What is soil erosion? That is the topmost layer of the soil getting washed away by some natural forces like by water, by wind, by glaciers or by some natural calamities or disasters. So all these leads to soil erosion. What is topmost layer of the soil means? That is the entire soil which is present in the top will get flowing away with the water or will be raised away by the wind. So which all these results soil erosion. That is the soil content will be very less over there. That is called soil erosion. We discussed in our last topic about the formation of soil. That is, it will take millions of years to form 1 centimeter of soil on the land. But in a soil erosion, what is happening? The entire soil on the top layer would be washed away with the water or wind. So actually, all the soil formation and the soil erosion must be go together. That is, when the one side the soil erosion is happening, so at the same time the soil formation also must be there to balance in the nature. Otherwise, it will be a dangerous situation on the earth. Besides these natural forces, human activities also leads for the soil erosion. That is, some human activities like deforestation, overgrazing. What is overgrazing? That is, plants are exposed for intensive grazing for long period of time by livestock or by the poor agricultural practices. So, human activities like deforestation, overgrazing, construction of building, mining, all these things also results for the cause of soil erosion. In brief, what is soil erosion? The removal of topsoil from one place to another by natural agencies is called soil erosion. What is soil erosion, children? The removal of topsoil from one place to another by natural agencies is called soil erosion. It is caused by running water and wind, deforestation, then overgrazing and unscientific agricultural practices are also responsible for large-scale soil erosion. The next is gully erosion. What is gully erosion? The rainwater, when moves down on the uneven land, scoops away the soil and form deep channels called gullies. This type of erosion is called gully erosion. So what is gully erosion, children? The rainwater, when moves down on an uneven land, scoops away the soil and it form deep channels called gullies. This type of erosion is called gully erosion. A land which is broken into small parts by gullies is called a bad land. So this bad land is not suitable for cultivation and for other economic activities. So this type of area, that is a land which is broken into small parts by gullies, is not suitable, or it is unfit for the cultivation and also it is not suitable for any economic activities. The next one is sheet erosion. So what is happening in sheet erosion? Sometimes water flows as a sheet over large areas down a slope. The water takes away the topsoil again. So this type of erosion is called sheet erosion. So what is the sheet erosion? Sometimes water flows as a sheet over large areas down a slope. The water takes away the topsoil. So this type of erosion is called a sheet erosion. So I think you understood the term soil erosion, what is sheet erosion, and what is gully erosion. Now we can study how to prevent the soil erosion and conserve our natural resource of soil, that is the conservation of soil. Children, now let's discuss what are the best methods to have soil conservation, or how to save our soil from getting eroded. So, what are the different methods for the conservation of soil? The first one is counter plowing, that is plowing along the contour lines can decelerate the flow of water down the slopes. So this is called counter plowing, that is plowing along the contour lines can decelerate the flow of water down the slopes. This is called counter plowing, that is plowing along with the contours of land in order to minimize the soil erosion. The next method is terrace farming. What is terrace farming? In terrace farming techniques, the steps are known as terrace. That is steps built on the slopes of the hills and mountains. So in this terrace cultivation, it restricts the erosion of soil. How it's work? In these steps, the force of water will be restricted, as the mud will be hold the root of the plant, so that the soil will be remain there. So by using this terrace cultivation, it restricts the soil erosion. In western and central Himalayas have well developed terrace farming. So steps can be cut out on the slopes for making terraces. So this terrace farming is one of the important method for conserving our soil. The first one is counter plowing reduces the flow of water and prevents soil erosion. The second point is, or the second measure is, in hilly areas terrace farming should be followed. The next one is strip farming. Strip farming, what is strip farming? That is large fields can be divided into strips. So these strips of grass are left to grow between the crops. So this break up the force of wind. So this method is known as strip cropping. That is, a large field will be divided into small strips. So these strips of grass are left to grow between these crops. So this breaks up the force of wind, and this method is known as strip cropping. So the strip farming helps to reduce the force of wind. Next measure for conserving the soil is shelter belts of plants around the fields reduce the soil erosion. What is shelter plants? The shelter belts of plants, actually planting lines of trees to create shelter. The planting lines of trees to create shelter also works in a similar way. Rows of such trees are called shelter belts. So these shelter belts have contributed significantly to the stabilization of sand dunes and in stabilizing the desert in western India. So the shelter belts of plants around the fields reduce the soil erosion. The next is afforestation should be practiced on a large scale and deforestation should be stopped. That is planting trees. We have to plant the trees as much as possible. So it should be practiced on large scale and the deforestation should be stopped. The next one is overgrazing by animals should be avoided. So to follow all these measures to conserve our soil as an important natural resource. So all these are the important measures of soil conservation. What are they? Counterplowing reduces the flow of water and prevents soil erosion. In hilly areas, terrace farming should be followed. Strip farming helps to reduce the force of winds. Shelter belts of plants around the fields reduce the soil erosion. Afforestation should be practiced on a large scale and at the same time deforestation should be stopped. Overgrazing by animals should be avoided. Children, I hope that you got an idea about the topic clearly. Watch the video again and URL also. Download the notes and keep it in a file. And also send the answers for test questions. Okay children? Thank you. Take care. Have a nice day.